Today's topic is reincarnation. It ain't over till it's over. What do I mean by that? I'm speaking about Avram because Korach and Moshe, according to the Ariya Kodesh and Shara Gilgulim, Korach and Moshe were a reincarnation of Kayin and Hevel. You hear this, Yonatan? Now, the Ariya Kodesh and Shara Gilgulim tells us that. If you analyze the text in Pashas Korach that we read yesterday, it says, "Upatzta hadama et piyah." The earth split open her mouth to swallow the rebels. And that, Upatzta hadama et piyah. Here is David, Upatzta hadama et piyah with the extra hey ayidiyah. Should have said Upatzta hadama. What's ha'adama? Ha'adama. In Hebrew, the hey ayidiyah means that special ground. Upatzta hadama et piyah. The earth split open her mouth. That's what it says in yesterday's Pashas Korach by Midbar 16. And in Pashas Bereshis, Genesis 4, when Kayin killed Hevel, it says, Ha'adama asher patzta et piyah. The exact same words. The Ha'adama, the ground that split open her mouth. Same words when Kayin put Hevel on the ground. It says the earth opened up her mouth, the Ha'adama with the extra hey idea, and those same words are written in yesterday's reading, Upatzta Adama with the extra hey idea, that ground, that sacred ground opened up her mouth to swallow what? Korach. So the Ariya Kodesh says that Korach and Moshe Rabbeinu were Gilgulim of what? The Yiddisheli, of Cain and Abel. Pretty incredible. The Cain mutiny, remember the Cain mutiny? Cain mutiny. Because Korach mutiny was actually the Cain mutiny. Because Korach Avraham was a Gilgul of Cain. So it was really the Cain mutiny. Remember Herman Wouk's book? Yeah. So that's what based on. It was the Korach mutiny, but Korach was actually a Cain mutiny. Now, Kayin was jealous of Hevel. Envy. And he put him in the ground. Right? So he comes back. He comes back as Hevel comes back as Moshe Rabbeinu, and Kayin comes back as Korach. So Kayin failed. His envy got the better of him, and he put his brother in the ground. So he comes back now as Avram. He comes back now as whom? As Korach. And Hevel comes back as Moshe. So Kayin put Hevel in the ground. Now it's Midah Keneged Midah time. Now Hevel, alias Moshe, puts who in the ground? Korach, alias Kayin. Cain mutiny. What goes around, Chava, comes around. Now, more than that, Ho'adama. Where did Moshe Rabbeinu, alias Hevel, put Korach, Kayin in the ground? Where? In the same spot. Says the Ari, in the same spot where Kayin put Hevel in the ground thousands of years before, that same spot, Moshe alias Hevel turned the tables and put Kayin alias what? Korach in the ground in the same spot, because the Torah uses the word Ho'adama with the extra hey ayidiyah. Yiddish Avram, the extra hey ayidiyah Ho'adama, that not only did Korach and Kayin wind up where Hevel was, alias Moshe, but the exact same spot in the Midbar Sinai where Moshe, alias Hevel, put Kayin, alias Korach in the ground is the exact same spot where thousands of years earlier in Genesis, Kayin put Hevel in the ground. The same geographic spot, Yonatan. Did you know that? You knew that, right? No. Because there's a hey ayidiyah in both words, Shelley. In Bereshis 4, Ho'adama, the extra hey is not called for. And in Pashas Korach by Midbar 16, there's also the extra hey ayidiyah, that in the same place where Kayin put Hevel on the ground, in that geographic place, is where Moshe Rabbeinu, Hevel, put Korach, Moshe in the ground. Midah keneged midah. What do we see, David? What goes around comes around. Right? It ain't over till it's over. Now, where in Tanakh do we find the principle of Gilgul? People say that it's not in Tanakh. But if you take a look at the page in front of you, Job chapter 33, I think it's underlined in yellow, Avram, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, Job chapter 33, verse 28. Seeing is believing. See that, Chava?
Yeah.
People will say Gilgul is not found in Tanakh. But it's right here. According to Nachmanides and Bein al-Bachai, this is the clearest verses in Tanakh of Gilgul. Pada nafshi ma'avor b'shachat. Verse 28. God redeems the person's soul from going into the grave. V'chayta ba'or tireh. And his life beholds the light of God. What does that mean? Verse 29. Hen kol ele yifal el. Behold, all these things does God do. What? Pamayim shalosh im geber. Twice, 3 times with a person. What does God do twice or 3 times with a person? Yonatan, what?
3 Gilguls?
3 strikes and you're out. You ever play baseball? No, don't get excited. Look what it says in verse 29. All these things God does twice, 3 times with a person. What does he do? Abraham, verse 30. Lahoshiv nafshoy mine shachas. To bring back his soul from the grave. What? Lahoshiv nafshoy mine shachas. To bring back his soul from the grave. Le'or ba'or achayim. That he may be enlightened with the light of the living. So here you have a clear pasuk that there is reincarnation, that a person comes back from the grave 3 times. Maybe in baseball, that's why you get 3 strikes and you're out. The Riyah Kodesh points out that all the characters in the book of Job are non-Jews, which is very strange. One of the largest books in Nach is the book of Job, and all of the characters are non-Jewish. Isn't that strange?
Largest book in Nach?
I didn't say the largest. I said it's one of the largest books in Nach, and all of the characters are non-Jewish.
Job also?
Why is that? Job and all of his friends are all non-Jews. Why is that? Says the Riyah Kadosh, because the problem of why the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper is not just a Jewish problem. It's a universal problem. Why good people suffer. And who's better than a child? Innocent children die. Not just Jewish innocent children die. The children of Bangladesh and Pakistan, there's tsunamis. So the problem of why the righteous suffer, and there's no one more righteous than a child, is not a Jewish problem, it's a universal problem. So therefore, the book of Job, which is the book on Gilgul, says Nachmanides, Rabbeinu Bachai, and the Ari, therefore, all of the players are what, Yosef? Non-Jewish. And therefore, it says in verse 29, all these things does God do, Pamayim Shalosh. Because non-Jews, 3 strikes and you're out. But a Jewish person, as many chances as it takes. There's a verse in Isaiah chapter 60. Va'amech kulam tzadikim. God tells Isaiah, all of your people are tzadikim. Now I know, Yaakov, you're a tzadik, but I'm no tzadik. How could God, what's God's John Hancock? What's God's signature? Emet. How could God tell Isaiah chapter 60, Va'amech kulam tzadikim? I'm not a tzadik. So suppose the Ari say, you can pay me now, you can pay me later. After all the Gilgulim, Va'amech kulam tzadikim, all of your people, Isaiah, will all be tzadikim. No matter how many Gilgulim it takes. Since Job is a non-Jew, so therefore verse 29 says what? 3 strikes and you're out. But Jews get, as we'll see soon, get as many chances as it takes in order to what? To get it right. Otherwise, how could God tell Isaiah 60, Va'amech kulam tzadikim? Isn't God's signature truth? Va'amech kulam tzadikim? After all the Gilgulim, Va'amech kulam tzadikim. So here you have an open verse in Tanakh. In fact, the Ramban says, and Rabbeinu Bachai, that the book of Job was written. Job was a tzaddik. Why did he suffer so much? So the book of Job is every person that knows that he's innocent and he suffers anyway. What's the answer, Elisheva? Reincarnation. Reincarnation. Says the Ari HaKadosh.
As painful as that is.
Job was a tzaddik. Why did he suffer so much? Says the Ari that he was a Gilgul of Terach. Remember Terach? The father of Abraham? He was a Gilgul of Terach, the father of Abraham. Now, didn't Terach do tshuva? How do we know Terach did tshuva? How do I know? Because it says in Parshas, thank you. It says in Parshas Lech Lecha, God tells Abraham, when you die, you will join your father in the afterlife. That's what it says in Parshas Lech Lecha. So Rashi wonders, his father is a Rasha. What kind of good tiding is it he'll join his father in the afterlife? What kind of good tiding is that? It's a charaya that what? Dr. Abramson, that what? Must have done tshuva. Otherwise, why is Hashem saying, stay tuned, you know what? When you die, you'll join your father in the afterlife. It must be good news. It's proof that what, Abraham, that Terach did tshuva. So if Terach did tshuva there, he asked, why did he have to come back as what? As Job and suffer so much? Says the Ari, yes, Terach did tshuva. But he was in the Getchke business. How do you say that in English? He sold idols. He sold thousands of idols. And Wednesday he had 2-for-1 sale, David. Wednesday he had 2-for-1 sale. Buy one Getchke, get the other one on the house. So thousands of people worshipped idols because of him. They never did tshuva. So he had to come back. Not for his own tikkun, he did tshuva. But to be mitaken for all of the Avodah Zorah that were, because he had a Macy's Day sale, Veterans Day sale, 2 idols for the price of one. Buy one, get one free. Remember Carvel? No? What?
Didn't Terach go with Abraham when Abraham left the land?
No, Terach remained behind, but Terach did tshuva. But he didn't do tshuva, he couldn't do tshuva for all those people that what? That he sold idols to, and therefore he had to come back as what? As Job, and to suffer. The suffering itself is a tikkun. The suffering itself, I think it's called the stairway to heaven. The Vilna Gaon says we come down here from Matai. Yosef, Matai? Matai is an acronym. Mem, Tov, Yud. Matai is like FBI, NYPD. Mem stands for we come down for mitzvot. Tov comes down for what? Torah. Yud Yisurim. That's part of the plan. You can't get, I think it's called growing pains, tikkun, kapara, whatever you want to call it. But this is the pasuk in Tanakh. The book of Job teaches the doctrine of Gilgul Neshamot. So Kayin comes back as Korach. He fails again. He has kina again. Kayin was jealous of Hevel. So he killed him. So now he comes back as Korach, and this time he's supposed to counter his jealousy, but he fails again. And he's jealous again of what? Of Moshe, alias whom? Hevel. So now Hevel, Moshe puts him in the ground, payback time, in the exact same spot, Ho'adama, where Kayin put Hevel in the ground. Thousands of years later, Hevel, Moshe Rabbeinu puts Kayin in Ho'adama, in the same geographical place. So we see that no one gets away with anything. Now it's amazing. The Ve'ela HaMishpatim.
Didn't Cain suffer anyway in his real life, in his first life?
But, okay. But God has a cheshbon. The Ve'ela HaMishpatim. Says the Ari HaKodesh. Ve'ela HaMishpatim. The book of Exodus, Parshas Mishpatim. What does the word Mishpatim mean? Justice. The whole Parsha is full of miskenim, Chava. Parshas Mishpatim is full of miskenim. A person that's poverty-struck, that he can't afford to feed his family, has to sell himself as a slave. The ger, the yosam, the amana, broken people, widows and orphans. The whole Parsha deals, how do you say miskenim in English? Poor, broken people. Broken down people. The Ve'ela HaMishpatim. That, says the Zohar, that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mishpat. You hear? Almana, Yosam, the side Gilgul HaNeshama is the Tikkun HaNefesh. God's justice works through Gilgul. So people, le'aleinu, orphans and widows and people that suffer with sickness, they didn't do anything wrong, but they're Gilgulim. God's mishpat works through Gilgulim. That's how God's justice works. That's the secret.
Well, what happens with Techiyas HaMesim?
Well, we're not there yet. That's a separate shear. Don't mix me up. Another proof of Gilgul from the Torah. Another proof. In Parshas Zoysa Bracha. In Parshas, people say, don't mix me up. Where's Gilgul in Tanakh? I showed you here one place. But some say, I don't want to see Job. Show me from the Chumash. In Parshas Zota Bracha, when Moshe blesses the tribes, he says, Yechi Ruvain va'al yamot. May Ruvain live and not die. Now, it seems to be redundant. Right, David? If Ruvain lives, he's not going to die. And what's more difficult, when Moshe Rabbeinu said that, Ruvain was already dead for 250 years. Hello? When did Moshe Rabbeinu say that pasuk, Cecil? The 40th year. Parshas Zoysa Bracha. Ruvain's been dead for 250 years when he said this. Remember there were 210 in Egypt?
Moshe said this?
Parshas Zoysa Bracha. Look at the text. Yechi Ruvain ba'al yamot. May Ruvain live and not die. So Onkelos wonders, Ruvain is already dead. And isn't it redundant? If he lives, he's not going to die. So Onkelos says, may Ruvain continue to live in Olam Haba and not have to come back here to die again for the sin of Bilhah. Are you getting this? This is Onkelos in Parshas Zoysa Bracha. Otherwise, the pasuk doesn't seem to make any sense. May Ruvain live and not die. Isn't that redundant? If he lives, David, obviously he's not dead, right? And when he said that he was dead for 250 years, says Onkelos, Uncle Onkelos, Yiddish Masha, you can look it up. May Ruvain continue to live in Olam Haba and not have to come down here to be born and die again for his sin, what he did with Bilhah. God, please do not recycle him.
Remind us what he did with Bilhah.
You don't want to know. It wasn't nice what he did. The pasuk said he slept with her, but that's what the pasuk says, okay? So the Talmud says it wasn't that bad. But Vayishkav et Bilhah, it says Vayelech Reuven Yishkav et Bilhah. But the Talmud says you can't take it literally. What he did, it wasn't nice. Whatever he did,
It was his stepmother.
it was his stepmother, right? Okay, so Moshe pleads with God, allow him to remain in the afterlife. Please don't bring him down here again to live and to die again.
Amen.
It's very traumatic for the neshama to come down here. Find another tikkun for him. Okay? Now, Gilgul occurs when the soul has more to accomplish to do its tikkun. Gilgul is climbing the soul ladder. I'm a soul man. God is in what business, Sherry? I think the recycling business or the soul repair business.
He's a shoemaker.
It's deja vu all over again. We come down to do a tikkun. So Joseph Javsner, my dear friend, asked the question, how do you know what the tikkun is? The Riyah Kodesh says that every person has a unique talent that he's born with. Right? Every person, not every person can be a Rosh Hashiva or be a koilel guy. Whatever talent Hashem gave you, to tell jokes, to cheer people up, to help people, to sing, la 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 la. Any talent that Hashem gave you, you can use that talent, channel that talent in order to what? To serve God. We're all unique and special. Everyone has it. No one can do it my way. So any talent that Hashem gave you, you can use that talent in order to what? To serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. On the other hand, every person has a weakness that he has. Whether it's the internet, whether it's gambling or women or the bottle. Everyone has their weakness. Right? Food, right? I'm on a seafood diet, Elisheva. I see food, Says there, a person has a particular weakness, that's his tikkun. That's his tikkun. So on the positive side, use your talent to serve Hashem, whatever it is, and we shall overcome. Right? Some people can't. The internet is their what? Weakness. Others, it's gambling. Others, it's what? I don't know, Johnny Carson, whatever. Everyone has their weakness, whatever it is, drinking, right? But he has to overcome that and to turn that negative into a positive. That's our challenge. So deja vu all over again, right?
Where does it say that? Where does it say that Terach was an idol worship?
The the Talmud says that Terach worshipped idols. Right? The Midrash, the Talmud, that Terach worshipped idols.
Even the Torah says it.
Right? Well, it's not written farish in the Torah, but the Talmud says of that. But anyway, getting back to our parsha over here, a Jew gets as many chances as it takes. The word, who's good in math here? We have a professor of math here, Gilgul, Professor Chaya. Gimel Lamed, Gimel Vav Lamed is Gematria Chesed, 72. It's a Chesed HaBoreh, that God will recycle that neshama as many times as it takes in order that the person should do his tikkun. Gilgul Gematria Chesed, Avram, you can figure it out, it's 72. There's a pasuk in Parshas Azinu, Ki chelek Hashem amo. God is a portion of his people. And the beginning of Parshas Azinu says God is called Hatzur. I am the rock. Yonatan, we're all a piece of the rock. Ki chelek Hashem amo. God is called the rock in Deuteronomy 32. And he says we're all a piece of the rock. So God cannot give up on any Jewish person because we all are a piece of the rock.
Verified 72.
So God will bring us back as many times as it takes because God cannot afford to give up on any Jewish soul because we're all a piece of the rock. Ki chelek Hashem amo. Deuteronomy 32 says Hashem is a piece, a portion of every one of his people. That's pretty incredible. So we're here to do our tikkun as many times as it takes. Rabbeinu Bachai points out in Pashas Miketz, when the 10 sons of Yaakov go down to buy food, remember Canaan is a hunger. Pashas Miketz, 10 times they're called Ho'anoshim. They should be called the Bnei Yaakov. They should be called the Achei Yosef. 10 times they're called Ho'anoshim. Again with the Hey Yediyah, with the extra Hey. The men. What do you mean the men? Call them the sons of Jacob. Call them brother Joel's brothers. And why Dafka 10 times? The Torah doesn't repeat itself. 10 times the Parshas Miketz, the brothers are called Ho'anoshim with the Hey Yediyah. Says the Rabbeinu Bachai that these 10 brothers became the 10 VIPs of Jewish history, the 10 martyrs who were murdered by the Romans. Kidnapping a fellow Jew and selling him into slavery, David, is a capital punishment. And they were never punished, so they come back as what? As the 10 martyrs in order to what? To do their tikkun.
Joseph never forgave.
To do their tikkun, right? That's right. That's right. He never said, I forgive you. He never, Rabbeinu Bachai points out, he never said, I forgive you. He never said that. And therefore, they had to be recycled, Abraham, centuries later as the 10 martyrs, Rabbi Kiva and his what? And his colleagues. So a person who was a what? We're all Gilgulim. The Baal Shem Tov came to the Brit of the Balatanya. And he said, this is a new neshama.
Really?
Meaning everybody else is a
Gilgul.
Gilgul. But he saw the baby, the Balatanya, as a baby. Baal Shem Tov came to the Brit, he says, this is a naya neshama. How do you say that in English? It's a new neshama. But everybody else is what? Recycled.
Really?
That's right. He's a new neshama, the Balatanya was. So all of us, Elisheva, we've met before, whether you know it or not, deja vu. Anyone that you meet in this world, Yiddish David, that means we have unfinished business from a previous life cycle. We're all climbing the soul ladder.
What about the non-Jews we meet? They're not...
Also, non-Jews also get going they get 3 chances. Right? But we get as many chances as it takes in order to do right, because we are Chelek Hashem Amo. Deuteronomy 32, Avram. Hashem says, I am a portion of my people. That every Jewish person is a Chelek Kaviochel of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're all a piece of the rock. So, therefore, a parent can never give up on a child. Can a parent give up on a child? God is a loving parent. So we get recycled, right? None of us are new neshamas. We all have accumulated experiences from previous lives and past lifetimes in other incarnations. Now, just as the connection of the body and the soul, all the suffering and the grief and the agony that person goes through, that helps the tikkun. The very fact that the neshama gets born again and goes through all of the suffering and the trials and tribulations and all the disappointments of life, that acts as a tikkun, says the Ari HaKadosh. Throughout Tanakh, a person is only called a nefesh or neshama. A person is never called a guf. Throughout Tanakh, a human being is called nefesh or neshama. I'm a soul, man. Never called a guf. Because the body is only the vessel, Avraham, that the soul uses in order to what? Maneuver, right? Remember Neil Armstrong on the moon? Joseph, remember that? You couldn't fool me. I knew that funny looking spacesuit was not Neil Armstrong. You couldn't fool me. Alright? I knew Neil Armstrong is inside the spacesuit. Did you think Neil Armstrong was that funny looking spacesuit? We're all wearing spacesuits. Connie, what are the spacesuits called? The body. But that's not me. That's my bodysuit. I'm inside. I'm the astronaut, the neshama, the godly soul. I'm inside. The body itself can be replaced. Organs are replaced, Avram, now, no? They replace organs? Heart transplants, right? Stem cells. The body is the vehicle through which the soul can work and operate to accomplish its mission down here on earth. You say to a person, point to yourself. Yiddish Yehuda, most people will point to their heart. But let's say you have a heart transplant. Can you point to your heart? Huh? Can you point to your heart? Let's say you have a heart transplant. Many people walk around with a heart transplant.
It becomes your heart.
It's not you, it's somebody else. So you are not your body. You are the godly soul. Rabbi Yosef, on a Motzei Shabbos Shir years ago, said that never the 6 million Kedoshim of the Holocaust are Gilgulim. He took a lot of flack for that, but that's what he said on Motzei Shabbos Shir. He said that the 6 million, who's more innocent than innocent children, 1.5 million children, he says they're all Gilgulim. How else do you explain the death of a child? Gilgulim, right? We're not here the first time. When a person does his mission, beam me up, right? And the Ari HaKadosh speaks about this. The Vilna Gaon and Evan Shalema speaks about this. He says that a person is born with a certain mazel. Mazel means his past. Mazel doesn't mean luck. Chas v'shalom. Mazel from the word nozel.
I said flow.
Go with the flow. Mazel means he's born with his previous flow that he accomplished what? In a previous lifetime, a previous Gilgul. So Le'aleinu, a person could be a tzaddik like Iyuv, but he's suffering because his mazel is from a previous Gilgul. We're not new neshamas. We all have accumulated baggage. So the very fact that a person goes through the trials and tribulations of life that acts as his what? As his tikkun or his kapara. It's amazing that in Parshas Kiteitzei, there's the, according to the Ramban and Rabbeinu Bachai, you have the Gilgul of doctrine in the mitzvah of Yibum, Avram, the mitzvah of Yibum.
Yeah.
Very strange mitzvah. Normally, if a brother dies and leaves children, can the brother-in-law marry the widow, Abraham? It's Gilead Ayot. It's one of the 3 cardinal sins this you have to die for. Did you know that? A brother dies and leaves kids. If the brother-in-law is strictly forbidden to marry the widowed sister-in-law, if he does, it's Gilead Ayot. How do you say that in English? It's incest. One of the 3 cardinal sins. Yet it's very strange, if the brother dies with no children, then that terrible sin, we all say, becomes what? A mitzvah. Then it's a mitzvah for the brother to marry the widow of his dead brother. How could it be a mitzvah? I just said it's incest. That's when they leave children.
That's when they leave children.
When they don't leave children, says Rabbeinu Bachai and the Ramban. And the baby that's born, the Torah says, shall be called by the name of the dead brother. Says Rabbeinu Bachai and the Ramban, the secret is Gilgul. If a person dies, lo yaleinu, with no children, his neshama cannot find peace in Olam Haba. The only way that he can come back is if his widow marries his brother. The child that is born, Zisel, is what? Is the dead brother recycled. Says the Ramban, look how much God cares for one disembodied soul. There's one disembodied soul who left no children, cannot find peace in Olam Haba. So God waves away the incest sin and makes it a mitzvah, because the only way the dead soul can come back and leave a child is if his brother marries his widow. The child that's born, Avram, is the dead brother. And therefore the Torah says he should be called by the name of the dead brother. You hear this? So this terrible sin of incest becomes a mitzvah. How much God cares for one disembodied soul to wave away the incest sin and make it a mitzvah, yes? What?
Like somebody like Rabbi Sprecher didn't have any children. No good.
We don't know God's cheshbono, but if there is a brother, so he had no brother, okay? But if there is a brother, if he had no brother, he's an oinus. How do you say an oinus? It's not his fault. But if he has a brother, then the neshama needs that brother to marry his widow in order to give him a chance to what? To come back again and to leave children. The very fact of Yibum, that is a nachas ruach for the neshama.
And why is there chalitza?
Oh, that's a good question. Why is there chalitza, right? Why is there chalitza? That's a very good question.
Because it doesn't work for everybody.
Why?
My wife might be 80 years old.
So the Talmud says, because if you don't have the right kavanas, Avram, it's incest. You have to do it just for the mitzvah. But if you do it because she's a pretty girl, then you might be committing incest in your mind. Because it has to be lishma. Has to be lishma. If it's not lishma, it's incest with your sister-in-law. So therefore, there's chalitza. But why is there chalitza? Professor Chai, listen to this. It says, Rabbeinu Bechai, what is chalitza? You sitting down? The widow, what does she do, Jonathan? She removes the shoe from her brother-in-law. And she spits, not in his face, she spits in front of him. And she says, so shall be done to a man that doesn't want to bring back his dead brother. Look at the text. So why does she remove his shoe? Why not his glasses? David. Strange. You ever seen the ceremony?
So is the shoe.
Oh, don't steal my thunder. You stole my thunder.
The foot is the basis of the whole
Beauty.
body.
Oh, you guys are ahead of me today. Says Rabbeinu Bechai. You didn't Sherry, they're ahead of me. The soul is like the foot. The foot carries the whole body. The feet carry the body, just like the goof carries the soul. The shoe carries the foot, right? The shoe is the vessel that contains the foot. Just like the body is the vessel that what? So you don't want to give my dead husband a new vehicle, so I'm removing your vehicle. Yider Beinu B'chai. My dead husband, he's in the neshama, he needs a vehicle. What's the vehicle? Dr. Hackett, the body. The only way he can get that is if you marry me. You refuse to give my husband a new vehicle, a new guf, I'm removing your vehicle. Your shoe that carries your foot, like the neshama is carried by what?
My husband.
By the guf.
Better shoe than his Toyota.
You hear it? So that's the symbolism of what? Of chalitza, of the mitzvah of chalitza. This is all the Shara Gilgulim, right? According to the Ramban, Rabbeinu Bechai, the Vilna Gaon, that the Gilgul is a major doctrine of the Jewish religion. Gilgul is a major doctrine of the Jewish religion according to the Ari, the Vilna Gaon, the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbeinu Bechai, the Ramban, all the great Kabbalists.
Did the Rambam
teach.
feel that way?
The Rambam didn't speak about Gilgul, but Nachmanides speaks a lot about Gilgul. Maimonides didn't. He has to leave over something for somebody else. If Maimonides would say everything, Nachmanides would be unemployed. You don't want that.
Can the wife
Right? So,
decide, Khalees says-
what?
Can the wife decide she doesn't want to marry him?
Oh.
Because he's a-
So now, Zisla asked a good question. Let's say the brother is 89 years old and she's 18. Or he looks like the hunchback of Notre Dame. So the Talmud in Yevamos says that Bezdin says, listen, we are going to force you to do chalitza instead of doing yibum. If the widow says, I can't live with this guy, he looks like death warmed over. Or he's twice my age. So if she says that, so Bezdin will force the brother to do what? Chalitza instead of yibum. We don't force anybody to have relations against their will, so therefore the Bezdin will force the person to have chalitza because this woman might be miserable, right? So she has a choice to tell Bezdin whether she wants the yibum or whether she wants the chalitza or not. Okay? So now we get to the very, very difficult question of Lo Yaleinu, the death of a child, which happened to me. My dear son passed away. He was 10 years and 8 months old. So this is a very difficult subject, but I can speak on it because it happened to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare speak about it. There's a Gemara in Ksubis, page 8. If I get emotional, you'll excuse me. Ba'avon avot bonim mesim shehem ketanim. The Gemara says, Lo Yaleinu, sometimes when parents sin, it results in the death of their small children. Ksubis, page 8. The Kayin Hevel says he doesn't understand his Gemara. Kayin Hevel was the star disciple of whom? Of Riyah Kodesh. Who wrote the Shar Gilgulim? It's all based on the Ari, but who actually wrote it down? Kayin Hevel. The Ari didn't write anything. He just spoke. Who was his great secretary? Kayin Hevel. So Kayin Hevel in Shar Gilgulim says that his Rebbe, the Ari, doesn't understand his Gemara. How could the Gemara say in Ksubis, page 8, that for the sins of parents, Lo Yaleinu, sometimes small children will die? Is that fair? Is that fair? And he says, my Rebbe said he doesn't understand because the Rebbe says shekoton shemeis bo begilgul taken mashu. Lo Yaleinu, when a child dies, he did his tikkun. So how could the Gemara say that for little children, Lo Yaleinu, die when parents did a sin? When the Rebbe says no, if Lo Yaleinu, a child dies, that means he had some unfinished business from a previous lifetime. And when that business was done, beam me up.
That's right.
So what are you telling me? It's a sin of the parents. I don't understand. Says the Ari HaKadosh. What do you mean? It's my fault? How dare? So how do we reconcile this? So the Kayin Hevel says, when a child dies, Le'aleinu, he who gomer tafkido, who mistalik min ha'olam, it's not the fault of the parents. Gomer tafkido, some persons, a tikkun takes 104 years. Rav Kaduri died at 116. And some, like my dear child, 10 years and 8 months, that was his tikkun. So what are you telling me is the sin of the parents? Says Kayin Hevel as follows. Again, I wouldn't talk, but it happened to me. Mi shetzorech lamut tzayir rachman al-tzlan. Says Kayin Hevel, based on his Rebbe's teaching. Someone le'aleinu that has to die young. Because his tikkun is to do a short tikkun and then he goes home. V'HaKadosh Baruch Hu yodea marosh keshehu ba la'olam Gilgul l'shanim meutot. Kadosh Baruch Hu knows that he has to come down for a short while, like a sick child, to do his tikkun. Masa Kadosh Baruch Hu, what does God do? Mevi oto keben etzel mi shetzorech lekabel tikkun lo yaleinu sheyeladav yamusu tzeirim. So Kadosh Baruch Hu makes a shidduch. This neshama had to come down for 10 years and do a tikkun. So Kadosh Baruch Hu makes him to be born by parents, Le'aleinu, that need to go through this tikkun of Le'aleinu losing a child. It's not the fault of the parents, not the fault of the child. The child had to come down for a short while because he has some unfinished business. And once the tafkid is done, the stalik bin olam. But Kadosh Baruch Hu makes him born. There are no accidents.
The parents who need it.
The parents, Le'aleinu, who need to go through this tikkun. They need to go through this tikkun, Le'aleinu, to lose a child, to be able to handle it, to help others. How others should deal with it. And since this happened, my wife, she's a bigger tzaddikas than me, she helps people that lose children and she knows how to talk to them. Much better than me. So we had to go through this terrible tsar in order to help other people deal with their tragedy. And if it didn't happen to us, we wouldn't know how to deal with it. She's much better than, my wife is much better at it than I am, but we don't know God's cheshbonot. There are no accidents, no mistakes. My little child, Oshero, had to come down for 10 years and 8 months, because that was his tikkun. Ramat Chalio told us this. Ramat Chalio, he was a sandik in Eileen Hospital, and he told us this, that your child is a heilig in the neshama, and he's down here for a short while, and you are privileged to host him. You know, Rabbi Leo said to me and my wife, you are privileged to host that heilig in the neshama to come, and he chose you. Because the Ariya Kodesh says before a child is born, Hashem gives him a catalog. Do we choose our parents, Avraham? We choose our parents, says the Ariya Kodesh. To help each other do the tikkun. So little Ushul chose us to do his tikkun. He had to come down for a short while, and we were privileged to host him for 10 years and 8 months, says the Rabbi Elio Zatzal told us this. And he did his tikkun, and we did our tikkun. Whatever God does is for the best, even though we don't understand it. That's the difference between emunah bitochon. We throw around the terms, emunah bitochon, right, Avam? What's the difference, Yisrael? Ever wonder? Emunah bitochon. Emunah means I believe whatever happens to me, whether it's bad or good, good or bad, even the bad is all from Hashem. That's a high level. You're having a bad hair day, a sick child, it's bad. It all comes from Hashem. That's a high level. The higher level is bitachon. That even what looks bad to you, I trust Him. In God we trust. All others pay cash. In God we trust. That even though it looks bad, hakol tova. That's a higher level, right, Sherry? Father knows best. I'm dating myself. Father knows best. Judaism in 3 words is that show. Remember what's his name? Robert Young?
Yes.
That's Judaism in 3 words. Father knows best. The little kids don't understand what the father is doing. It looks like the father's being cruel. But since I trust him, because I know he loves me, even though it looks like he's being cruel, I trust him that hakol letova, somehow it's for my what?
Good.
For my good. That's bitochon, that's a higher level.
What about
Hakol letova.
Rabbi,
That's
what
trust.
abortion? When somebody
That's murder. If someone kills somebody, abortion is like murder, right? Unless the life of the mother is in danger, right? If she says she'll kill herself, or she's, the life of the mother comes first. But otherwise, abortion is strictly prohibited, right?
No, not always. Up to 6 weeks.
I said there are cases where if the mother's health is in danger, the life of the mother comes first. But if the mother's health is not in danger, strictly prohibited, right? But just as the neshama comes down here and is born, remember in Mitzrayim, Amram said, why bring babies into the world? They'll wind up in the bottom of the Nile River. Remember? So Amram got up and he divorced his wife, right? Remember? Gemara in Sota, page 12. So all the Hasidim got up and divorced their wives. If the Rebbe divorced his wife. So little Miriam said what? Abba, your decree is worse than Paroi. Why? So Paroi was only goyzer what? On the boys. By divorcing mommy, you're preventing girl babies from being born. And she also said, Yiddish, David, Yiddish, Paroi only decreed in Olam Hazeh. By divorcing mommy, you are stopping the neshama from getting Olam Haba. So Rashi there in Sota 12 says that neshamas are waiting. Neshamas are waiting tacha kisei hakovot. In order to get their level of Olam Haba, they have to come down to this world, even though they only live for a minute. The very fact that they come down to this world and are born in a guf, that gives them a chance to reach their level of Olam Haba. But if you were divorcing mommy, you're preventing for the neshama to come down. The neshama cannot reach her level of Olam Haba. She's on hold. The very fact that the neshama interacts with the guf, even though the child doesn't live, the very fact that the neshama comes down here, that's a tikkun. Look in Rashi Sota, page 12. So little Miriam, with her bino yetera, said, Abba, what are you doing? So the baby will wind up in the river, but at least the baby will get her station Olam Haba. Our job is to bring babies into the world. Don't mix in God's business. So he could have said, Amram was the chief rabbi of Cairo, right, Zisel? Amram, chief rabbi. She's a 5-year-old girl. He could have said, what are you telling me? Go back to your milk and cookies. Remember romper room? Go back with your crayons. What are you telling me? Marsha, remember romper room? He listened. That's the amazing part. He listened to her. And he remarried Yocheved, who was born?
Moses.
Holy Moses. Without little Miriam, Holy Moses will never be born. No Redeemer, no lawgiver. What's the message? Zisel, what's the message? Listen to your little girl. Listen to your little girl. It's amazing that he listened to her.
Out of the mouths of
Mind your own business. Isn't it milk and cookie time or crayons? Little girls have a bina yetera, Elishama. They can see clearer than the big chief rabbi. Women have this insight. Rav Shmuel, they can see right through. Women can see right through. You can't fool them. Wasn't Avram fooled by Ishmael? Was Sarah fooled?
No.
Was Yitzchak fooled by whom? Esau? Was Rivka fooled?
No.
Why? Women have x-ray vision. They can see right through the shtick. Because where was a woman taken from? The pinky? The pinky? The nose? David, where was a woman taken from? The nose, no? Inside! She was taken from an inside organ. So she can see right through.
But she was brought
You
up
can't
by her father.
fool her. Women have this bina yitena.
She was brought up to
Women are more godlike. How do I know, Sherry? The word shechina, feminine. The word neshama, the word Torah, the word mitzvah, kwinky dinky, they're all feminine. The word for God is feminine. Shechina, neshama, Torah, mitzvah, they're all what? Chavi, you know Hebrew? Feminine. That's not a kwinky dinky. Right? So what's the message? We have to listen to our wives because they know much better. Isha gematria musar, aleph shin hey. The word wife in Hebrew is gematria musar, 306. The job of a wife is to rebuke her hubby. But also, Isha, wife, is gematria devash, Sherry. Devash, honey. Honey, I'm home. Aleph shin hey is gematria 306. That's gematria musar, rebuke. But it's also gematria devash. Honey, 306. Wife's job is to rebuke her hubby, but she has to do it in a honey way. Otherwise, it's counterproductive. And therefore, tzaddikim call their wife honey. I had this chus to a few times to hear Rav Scheinberg, Zechet Tzadik Levracha, the one with all the tzitzis.
Yeah. He called his wife honey.
He called his wife honey on more than one occasion. This great tzaddik, he was 102 years old, 104. He called her honey, honey, honey. I asked him why. He said, what do you mean why? Isha gematria devash. The word wife in Hebrew is gematria honey.